Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. Today, my favorite type of watch to share. Technically sophisticated, super rare, from a great brand with pedigree and reasonably priced. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Grande Reserve in the XGT case. This is a model that launched in 2003, and in stainless steel, it's everyday durable, but it features an extraordinary movement derived from that originally created for the 70th anniversary Reverso, the Septantième. Now, this watch also features the XGT, or Extra Grande Taille case, that was created for the Septantième, and the model includes an extraordinary jumping power reserve indicator like few you will ever find in the business. This watch is full of exclusives. Let's talk about the size. Don't be afraid of XGT. It's nothing like the Grande Reversos that would follow at the end of the 2000s, like, for example, the Reverso 986 or 976, things that were just gigantic and built for huge men. This is not that big. It's 29 across, it measures 46.4 from lug to lug, and then it's 12.3 millimeters thick with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Let me show you on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist how this watch fits. It's a very easy fit here. Now you can see on my wrist, it's not even outboard of the edge. It's very, very comfortable on my wrist. And you can see that this would wear well on a wrist of, in my estimation, 16 centimeters circumference and up. I'm pulling the strap super tight, and it's still stiff because it's not broken in, but you can see that I do have some clearance. And if your wrist is flat across the top, you might even make this work on a 15 centimeter circumference wrist. The further from the camera, the more natural it looks. The strap is high quality. And as you can see, JLC built a little bit of an overhang into the case band so that the strap could be cinched up super close to the case, and there would be no impediment to its motion, so it wouldn't be pressed against the side of the case. But because that little recess that allows the strap to be almost countersunk into the case, there's no daylight between strap and case, which is a really handsome look. You can also appreciate that the strap is no expense spared. Large, and I mean extra large, rectangular scale alligator leather, always a premium cut of the animal. And you can see it has this wonderful sort of gathered grain to it, a little bit of a distressed look. Brand new strap, no crimping, no gouging. It's designed for this slightly distressed aesthetic in a high gloss finish with a monotone stitch. And you can see in profile it is a folded edge. And then we get to the clasp, which is JLC's second generation folding clasp. You know, because the first generation has an inner clasp body that's flat. The second generation has this little recessed channel to make for a better fit. And then you can see that the channel is media blasted, and so one sinks into the other, and then it snaps shut. You can see the JL logo externally. See how it all goes together. Now take a look at the case. You can see it will take any 20 millimeter size strap, which is nice. You don't need some sort of proprietary strap to fit this junction. It is a very conventional junction. And you can see that the strap is newer than the watch by far because it has pull tab spring bars, so you can pop the strap off with just a fingernail. And then we'll take a look. Pop this off the strap so you get a better look at what's inside. Actually, I don't even know if we have to. We'll take it off anyway. You can see how the underside is small, round scale alligator leather. So gator on both sides is a super premium feature that you see on the best brands these days. And as you can see, this is a JLC factory strap they're getting with the program. Gator on the bottom as opposed to a calfskin inlay. It adds a lot of expense, but also durability. This will be a much longer lasting strap. We'll close up this folding clasp here, and it is a good clasp. I like it a lot more than the double folds that followed. The case is called the XGT. And it's really short across the wrist. 46.4 is not that big. You can also see that the Reverso is a more complex shape than it appears to be if you just look at these photos online like that. It's got these wonderful vaulted sides. It's got these gadroons, as they're called, that wrap all the way around. The lugs themselves are actually conical and rounded, then squared off on their ends. So there's a lot more to this case. It almost looks, in its stubby XGT form, almost like those little root beer barrel candies. On the back, you can see we have a satin finish. Master 1000 hours control. So this, you can see a little fish. So 30 meters water resistant, a case with 50 individual parts. It might not sound like a lot of water resistance, but before the 80s, literally no Reverso ever made was water resistant. With 50 case components making this watertight, even for splashes and rain, that is incredibly difficult to do. So that little fish is meaningful. 1,000 hours control is a 41.6-day chronometric test in multiple positions, yes, but it's a fully assembled watch, not a bare movement like the COSC. And remember, the COSC is just 2 weeks. 1,000 hours control, tests chronometry, but also durability, water resistance, and power reserve. It's an in-house standard that originated in 1992. By the early 2000s, JLC was also applying Master 1,000 hours control to Reverso calibers. So it is an exhaustive COSC plus style of testing. Now, the dial of this watch, as you can see, is very traditional Reverso. We have brushed satin grain on the hour track outboard. We have broadsword style fire blued steel hands with a little lancet style counterweighted needle. We have rectangle within rectangle within rectangle within rectangle, so it has that lovely recursive quality. And then there's this vague or wave style cut to the center dial. It's a little bit unusual. You don't see it on all Reverso models. Okay, what's in the case? Well, it is a caliber called 874, which is properly sized and shaped for this case. There are 2 barrels in parallel that give an 8-day chronometric power reserve, though in fact it will run for almost 10 days from maximum wind to absolute exhaustion. It's a 4 hertz beat rate, so no tricks are played by reducing the beat rate to increase the power reserve. It is a JLC manufacturer caliber, so it comes from La Grande Maison. This is a power reserve indicator that is a jumping power reserve, the industry's first ever. It all pivots on 25 joules. And it has a very quick winding system. Now, a little tutorial on the case back. There are red numerals, which means we are approaching the end of the power reserve. There are black numerals, and then when fully wound, absolutely topped off, you're going to see a little sign that it is up. Up only endures for about 3 hours before it jumps to 8. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to demonstrate how this works. This is a quick winding system. Some long power reserve watches require over 100 winds, even over 120 winds. Whereas here, the idea is to have between 50 and 55 turns until it is fully wound. That's only about 11 or 12 more than winding up a Rolex 3135 with 48 hours of power reserve. So this is a quick winding system, and it's a lot of fun to show your friends how the jumping power reserve system actually works. And we're going to take this all the way to up because I want you to see all of the elements of the power reserve scale. And you might be wondering, does it work the same way in reverse? And yes, it does. It will jump up as you wind it, and it will jump down. There you go. Now here's the other thing. It's a Reverso. So if you want to wear it on this side, you can. Your friends are going to wonder, what the heck is that? Now what's really interesting is that if you look, there is plenty of basis here for customization. So the traditional Reverso caseback canvas that allows you to add a monogram or a family shield, lacquering, enamel, engraving, you still have some of that. Remember, the first Reversos were allegedly created as sports watches. The idea, on one side you had a steel caseback, on the other side a crystal that was vulnerable. During sport, you turn it over, you protect the dial. Then when you're done, you turn it back. Well, the revolving case in the modern era, because it's clearly no longer a sports watch class timepiece, it's become a canvas for customization, but also a platform for a second dial or complication, and that's exactly what we've got right here. You can see that the interior of the chassis is engine turned, and then a little tutorial on how you take a Reverso case apart. These lugs are actually hinged, and what will happen is they will open up and release this case. And so you can see we have these little spring-loaded ball-bearing pin snaps that are what allows the case to snap into position. And when the Reverso is properly assembled and finished by the factory, the tolerances should be incredibly tight. It should move smoothly, but also with a rifle bolt-like precision. It's a real pleasure. I was a Reverso skeptic when I was younger because I thought that all of these movement parts would create sort of a ropey or imprecise or cheap feeling assembly. Anything but. The precision, it's almost like an instrument. It's deeply impressive. It's been years since I've seen one of these guys. You're getting into an incredible all-time brand, its iconic watch, and a version that literally none of your friends will have. The Reserve in days. Thumbs up. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Let's investigate a question for which there is no obvious answer. Let's see if the mechanism hacks. It does not. There is no hacking. See, all of your questions answered. This is a Reverso to die for.